With a $111 billion bottom line, Saudi Aramco made more money last year than Apple, Microsoft and ExxonMobil combined. And soon, foreign investors will have a chance to buy into the company and share in its profits. In December, Saudi Aramco shares will be listed on the Kingdom's stock exchange, Tadawul.
Aramco has obtained the approval of the Capital Market Authority for the initial public offering in the Saudi market Tadawul. We can now officially launch the IPO, and by the end of it, Saudi Aramco will be listed in the financial market.
Analysts say the firm could be worth anywhere between $1.2 and $1.8 trillion. Saudi officials are hoping for an even higher valuation, so they've sweetened the deal for potential buyers. The tax rate applied to the company's profits has been slashed from as high as 80% to 15%. It's promised to pay out at least $75 billion in dividends every year, and the company is offering 10% bonus shares for long-term investors. These incentives could cost Saudi Arabia billions of dollars in foregone revenues, and it's only selling 1 or 2% of the total shares for now, so it may seem like a high price to pay. But Riyadh plans to list the company on other markets and sell even more shares.
After being listed in Saudi Arabia for 6 months, Aramco will enter the international market for a second stage listing.
That could entail more challenges. The kingdom's already dealing with the backlash over the killing of journalist Jamal Khashoggi in the Saudi consulate in Istanbul last year. Aramco's had to shelve plans to list in the US because it fears being sued by the families of 9/11 victims. Its revenues are under threat from a slowdown in global growth, and many large investment funds and banks are scaling down their stakes in fossil fuels. Keeping investors interested despite these challenges could require more aggressive lobbying, leaving Riyadh to strike a balance between spending on its image to make Aramco marketable and profiting from the sale of its most valuable asset. Mobin Nasir, TRT World.
And for more on this, Captain Ranjith Raja joins us now from Dubai. He's a senior analyst focusing on the MENA region for the research company Refinitiv. Welcome back to Money Talks, Captain. Now, after years of saying that they might, Saudi Arabia has finally confirmed that it's going ahead with this IPO, which could be the world's biggest ever. Is this a good thing for the state-owned company?
So, as we all know, this is by far the largest IPO that has been announced so far. And the highest expectation, or rather the biggest questions that's pertaining right now, it's about the valuation of the organization itself. So like we just heard prior to this, their range of valuation varies anywhere from about $1.2 to $1.3 trillion all the way to about $2 to $2.1 trillion. So the biggest question will be how much it will be valued at, and what percentage of that would be made open to the investors or potential investors that they're looking at.
Yes, there's still a lot of unanswered questions, isn't there, including questions about the valuation and even what date they'll actually debut on the Riyadh Stock Exchange. Do you think their announcement was too light on detail?
So right now, I think everybody is waiting for the prospectus that is expected to be made available in about a week's time. And most of the unanswered questions are hoped to be made available only through the prospectus that is going to be expected. But I think in the meantime, the kingdom is steadily working in terms of the confidence that it needs to provide for the potential investors, and in terms of attracting just not from the local wealthy Saudi nationals, but also from the international markets.
Yes, and to do this, Saudi Aramco executives are going to be embarking on an international roadshow to try and court those investors. Just how much interest do you think there'll be from them?
Well, so if we have to go by the previous indication when they opened the bond sale, there was a huge interest where Saudi catered to just about 15% of what the market was demanding at that point in time. So going by that, the interest is definitely there. This is one of the most high-profile organizations that is opening up its market. They have taken active interest in terms of making it as attractive as possible by confirming or making sure that the dividend yield is going to be made standard irrespective of how the price volatility of oil is going to be moving. So they are taking all the right moves. But the question that remains unanswered is actually is the valuation that is going to be put out when the shares come out is going to be acceptable to the international markets or not. And the second is also the question of how it is going to be secured. Because right now, the US securities is not going to be covering the shares that are going to be listed. So it is going to be more a question of whether is it just going to be based on the securities provided by the Saudi government, in which case the other international investors would not have too much of a secure feel, especially considering the governance and the transparency issues that usually gets associated with the kingdom.
That's right. Now, right now, Saudi Aramco, as we know, is the world's most profitable company, but we also know that it's at the mercy of a volatile oil price. It's at the mercy of a volatile region. Do you think that's something that investors might worry about?
Definitely yes, because price volatility has been the talk of the oil market for the last 3 to 4 years, and that's the whole reason Saudi has been leading the OPEC organization in order to provide the confidence of sustaining the oil prices by cutting up the productions that has been going on for the last 2 to 3 years. But that being said, on the other side, Saudi is also known as the swing producer in the OPEC organization. And when you talk about exports, which is going to actually result in the revenue for the kingdom, the October exports is at about 7.2 million barrels per day, which is the highest till date for the year of 2019. And for the first 9 months, they've already indicated about $69 billion as the revenues, which is still slightly lower than what they saw in 2018. But considering they have the potential to increase their exports, which will translate into revenues, they are actually quite well positioned in terms of sustaining and maintaining their revenue target for the year.
Okay, and as you say, we're all waiting for that prospectus to be released, hopefully later this month. Captain Ranjith Raja, a pleasure to have you as always. Thank you.